All right. So, Nick, if you want, you can just introduce yourself and your business. Tell us a little about the background, stuff like that, and we can get things going.
Yeah, awesome. So my name's Nick Foster. I am the owner and strategist behind Foster Global Strategies LLC. We go by the trade name as Foster GS. And we actually started out of a college dorm room at ECA. My very end of my sophomore year, things really kind of started getting rolling junior year. And it is a political consultancy, public relations firm, but we really specialize a lot in advertising. Both of those markets, advertising is a really major part of that. So it's myself and four friends. We have people from undergrad students to grad students who work for us, and we're in the process of still expanding there. We've worked on a lot of different local, state, federal levels for elections. So and we're continuing to expand. Some more established businesses. So that's where we're at right now.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. And so, I guess that leads up to our first question, which is basically just kind of tell me a little bit about like your marketing strategies. Like, how are y'all getting new clients, new political campaigns, stuff like that? And include like, are you doing traditional stuff, or is it just word of mouth, or if there's some digital marketing stuff like that that y'all are doing to get new business?
Yeah, no, definitely. So most politicians are kind of older, right? So our target market's really different. I mean, we'd much rather have an incumbent or like a group supporting an incumbent as a client than someone just trying to like break into the field. It's much harder to get someone elected from scratch. So we do a lot of advertising and things like LA Politics Now, which is like a weekly newsletter for legislators written by Jeremy Alford here in Baton Rouge. So that's a good way that we kind of get in. Also, word of mouth is really big. Once you're in one of the big associations or parties and you get known, that's kind of how you get passed around. People end up recommending you. Um, as of right now, we're kind of working with a few businesses. So just through networking, Baton Rouge Area Chamber, things like that is really how we're getting big. We've talked about displaying a billboard. Um, it's a really niche market. So, we'll see if that's a good idea or not.
Cool deal. So like, I guess a lot of it's like word of mouth and stuff like that, more than anything, kind of like shaking of hands and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's still, especially when you're doing business clients, right? So one thing that we've really got into recently is like crisis management. LSU's had some issues recently, and there's a lot of consultants, people who go in there and say, hey, let's look at the way that y'all are releasing your press strategies and things like that. So when it comes to working on the more corporate side of things versus the political side of things, advertising is definitely something that we'll expand more into. Digital is kind of king right now, so we understand that.
Cool deal. Cool deal. And so like, have you ever done anything, I guess, that like didn't work so well, or like, are those tactics that you've been using been pretty effective so far?
Right now, I like to think it's working well. I can tell you in some of the work that we do, political campaign wise, there has been, I mean, plenty of advertising strategies that didn't end up paying off. A lot of times, there's a lot of road barriers when it comes to not ads and doing regular digital marketing. Um, I think that we heavily expected our return on investments on like targeted Snapchat advertisements and campaigns to be a lot better than they were in actuality.
Interesting. And so like within your business itself, are y'all running any like SEO campaigns or anything like that for Foster Strategies to
Yeah,
like
well,
website and stuff like that?
yeah, definitely. I'm sure just about every business does, Google AdWords and stuff like that, just to boost our ranking or Alexa ranking and things like that. So
Got
we have that going on right now. We are in the middle of a full website redesign. It should be done hopefully by the end of this week. Um, just because we've expanded from a couple college students to plus. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, cool deal. And I guess like, yeah, it kind of goes on to the next question, which is like, what's like the biggest challenge that Foster consultants have faced so far into your career and your in the business?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the marketing world, I think we did have a pretty problematic client one time who was in California. Was affiliated with a major party out there, and they did not like paying their invoices on time. But we've adapted and found ways that we've written our contract for our future clients and our current clients that, knocks off some of like that, the time language, right? Because most of the time you want your clients to pay before election day. That's pretty standard, but if they're 30 days late, it's not a breach of contract. So that's something we definitely try to do. I mean, it's a service-based industry, right? So it's not like you can withhold payment until you provide the service. So we understand that. And through working through like a trade association, the American Association of Political Consultants, we've actually really changed all of our legal documents. So that was probably our biggest challenge. I'm not an attorney, don't plan on being an attorney. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I know, like, do you have to deal with a lot of, I guess, like rules and stuff like that when it comes to like marketing and all that kind of stuff? Like, is there any like oversight? Like, I know we've talked to, I've talked to, financial advisors and stuff like that, and they say that like, sometimes there's a lot of things they can't post or can post and stuff like that. So have y'all dealt with any of that type of oversight?
I mean, not to play who's worse, but the political industry is pretty bad when it comes to actually getting clearance to run a lot of ads. We found that in our California campaigns, it was a lot harder down here in Louisiana, right? One of the campaigns we ran was in like the heart of Silicon Valley. So they actually had geofence restrictions of areas you could not advertise for political campaigns. So some areas, I'm going to give just like a really brief example, and that is again back to Snapchat advertising. So really young candidate would have scored pretty well with young voters. They wouldn't let us advertise over certain business parks, right, where a lot of people end up working. So yeah, they're really creative out there. Of course, there's a couple of hoops you have to jump through to like make sure that it's sponsored, all the PAC information, all the filing information. But that's a mix between federal and state law. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's, I was talking to I guess a similar interview with a guy with State Farm, and that's what he was saying. Like, so like a lot of times you can't advertise certain products because it goes against, State Farm's policy on, advertising and stuff like that. So I can only imagine the political world, and that kind of, rules and regulations.
I've heard insurance and realty are both pretty bad when it comes to advertising. Healthcare isn't the best either. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, like getting at. The fact that like that's a whole part of like digital marketing is like knowing, what you can and can't post, and that's another barrier that a lot of people have to get around. And so I guess like, what's been something, either within your business or like marketing your business itself, like has there ever been like a question or some type of I guess like general overlying question that like you couldn't find, or like, a question that you might have for researchers or for something like that? Because like, the whole idea of this is kind of like help out people like you, like that are, small business owners, and try to give research and find research that like would help them out. So was there ever anything like you're trying to market that like, kind of you didn't know how to do or didn't know about it, or, with regards to either digital marketing or traditional, or, something like that?
yeah, but this is going to be a pretty big question for y'all. So on a couple of our campaigns before, we have heavily suspected like a large like bot count, right? Essentially boosting the other candidate. Because I mean, honestly, it's a lot cheaper than going a traditional method of hiring like an advertising agency or a digital marketing firm of some sort. So how do you really counter that, right? They may have a ton of followers or a ton of likes, but it does to a certain degree establish credibility to voters. So sometimes a person's organic reach will never actually be that large, right? It's not going to surpass the thousands for, running for a mayor of some random town. So yeah, how do you counter that? That's one thing that we've run into, and I think that's something a lot of consultants, advertisers are kind of struggling with right now. I mean, it's so easy to go on like the Russian bot farm and just ping a bunch of bots over to you. So
Yeah, and I think that's a question that's going to be, even, going to be more and more important as the time goes, as these, like I was recently reading an article about, like using Facebook's algorithms and stuff like that to kind of persuade people and to, like So like it really is interesting to see, how much digital marketing in this, like you said, like people paying bots to say things, stuff like that, or going the organic route and stuff like that. So that is really interesting. And that's definitely something that we can discuss and that we will discuss and kind of give our personal opinions on. But again, like, it's so hard to kind of research that too. Cause like the thing with that, like it changes so much, and I think
It's
that's the biggest problem is
yeah,
like
I mean,
it takes 2 or 3 years to research a given topic. And by that time, things are completely different.
I know the game has changed so fast. Our last election was November, right? And now we're looking at the next cycle. It's like things have already changed. It's really crazy.
All right. Well, look, man, Nick, I know you have a super busy day. I don't want to keep you too long. And I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come talk to me. I'm going to be in touch with you kind of, like I said, we're going to run kind of a podcast type deal where we're going to talk about your business, talk about you, see the stuff that we do like, see stuff that, maybe you can improve on, give you some ideas, some tips, trying to, get some new business. And then, we'll get that back to you. And so again, I appreciate you coming by, talking to me a little bit. If you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know.
Of course, yeah, it's always a pleasure, man.
All right.